Today, I want to share an unexpected experience that recently reshaped my understanding of friendship, trust, and the power of connection. It's a story that unfolded over the course of several years and has taught me so much about the people I care for and myself. I hope you'll stay with me through this journey, as it's one that transformed my life in more ways than I could have imagined. My name is Louise, I'm 30 years old, and I live in the vibrant, historic neighborhood of Little Germany in New York City. It's a place where old-world charm meets the fast pace of modern life, and I've always found comfort in its mix of tradition and change. My life has been relatively quiet over the past few years, and I've come to enjoy the solitude of my small, cozy apartment. It's a space where I've learned to love my own company, a retreat from the hustle and bustle of city life. I'd be lying if I said that my life has always been this peaceful. Like many people, I've had my share of heartbreaks and disappointments, especially in relationships. My last serious relationship ended abruptly when I discovered that my then-boyfriend had been unfaithful. It was a betrayal that stung deeply and left me with a sense of distrust that lingered long after. I found myself pulling away from people, hesitant to open up and more guarded than ever before. But life has a way of surprising you, especially when you least expect it. About 3 years ago, I received a message that would change the course of my life. It was from a woman named Hannah, who reached out to me with some difficult news. She had discovered that her then-boyfriend, who happened to be my boyfriend at the time, was seeing us both. Hannah was a stranger to me, yet she chose to reach out with honesty and transparency. It was an act that could have easily led to bitterness or rivalry between us, but instead, it marked the beginning of an unlikely friendship. After the initial shock of the situation wore off, Hannah and I decided to meet up. It was a rainy Saturday morning, and I remember feeling anxious as I sat in a small cafe, waiting for her to arrive. But as soon as she walked in, I was struck by her warmth and kindness. She had a genuine smile and an easygoing demeanor that instantly put me at ease. We spent hours talking, not just about the man who had wronged us, but about our lives, our dreams, and the things that made us who we are. By the end of that day, I realized that I had found a friend in Hannah, someone who understood the pain I had gone through but also shared my desire to move forward with grace. Over the next few years, Hannah and I became inseparable. She brought a light into my life that I hadn't realized I was missing. We spent countless weekends exploring the city, visiting art galleries, trying out new restaurants, and even going on spontaneous road trips upstate. Hannah had this incredible ability to make even the most mundane activities feel like an adventure. She would convince me to try things I would never have done on my own, like joining a salsa dancing class or taking a pottery workshop. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and I found myself slowly letting go of my old fears and rediscovering the joy of living in the moment. Hannah's husband, William, soon became part of our little circle. William was different from anyone I had met before. Kind, thoughtful, and incredibly intelligent. He had a quiet strength about him, and I admired the way he always made Hannah feel cherished. The three of us would often spend time together, enjoying relaxed dinners at their apartment or catching the latest movies at the indie theater down the street. It was easy to feel comfortable around them, and I treasured the balance they brought to my life. Hannah, with her spontaneity and laughter, and William, with his calming presence, felt like the perfect blend of friendship that I hadn't known I needed. One evening, as we sat together in their living room after dinner, Hannah brought up something that caught me completely off guard. She and William had been exploring new dimensions of their relationship, and they were considering inviting someone they trusted to join them. I remember feeling my heart race as she shared this with me, unsure of what to make of it. But before I could react, she reassured me that this was just a thought they had, and that our friendship was more important to them than anything else. If I felt uncomfortable, they would understand completely, and things would go back to how they were. I was taken aback. It wasn't something I had ever imagined happening, least of all with my best friend and her husband. But as Hannah continued to talk, I could see the sincerity in her eyes. She spoke about how much they valued the bond we shared, how they trusted me deeply, and how they believed that this could be a unique experience for all of us. William, too, chimed in, emphasizing that there were no expectations, just a desire to explore something new together. but only if it felt right for me. That night, I went home with a lot on my mind. I tossed and turned in bed, wondering if I should take this step or if it was better to leave things as they were. Part of me worried that agreeing to something like this might change the dynamic of our friendship forever. But another part of me was intrigued. Intrigued by the trust they placed in me. Intrigued by the possibility of deepening our connection in a way that few people ever experience. After days of reflection and a long conversation with Hannah and William, I decided to take a leap of faith. I trusted them, and I trusted the foundation we had built over the years. I agreed, with the understanding that we would take things slowly, and that any one of us could walk away if it ever became too much. The first weekend we spent together in this new dynamic was, in many ways, a revelation. We rented a cozy cabin in the Catskills, far away from the noise of the city. It was a chance to escape from our routines and focus solely on each other. The air was crisp, the leaves were turning shades of red and gold, and there was a peacefulness in the air that seemed to match the shift in our relationship. We spent the days hiking through the woods, cooking meals together, and sitting by the fireplace, sharing stories that we had never spoken of before. The nights, of course, were different. There was a newfound intimacy between us, but what struck me most was how natural it all felt. There was no awkwardness, no sense of obligation, just a deep connection that seemed to grow with each shared moment. Hannah and William were attentive to my feelings, constantly checking in to make sure I was comfortable and happy. I remember one particular evening when we sat outside under a sky full of stars, talking about our hopes and fears, our past heartbreaks, and the things that had shaped us. It was a conversation that brought tears to my eyes, and I realized then that this experience was about so much more than physical connection. It was about trust, vulnerability, and the beauty of letting people truly see you. When the weekend came to an end, I felt a mix of emotions. There was a sense of fulfillment, a sense of having shared something profound with two people who meant the world to me. But there was also a quiet fear. Fear of how this might change our friendship once we returned to our regular lives. Would things feel different between us? Would the closeness we shared fade away? Or would it bring us even closer? To my relief, life continued much as it had before. Hannah, William, and I went back to our usual routines, but there was a deeper bond between us now. We shared knowing glances, inside jokes, and an understanding that went beyond words. Our friendship, rather than being altered in a negative way, felt richer and more authentic. I felt grateful that they had invited me into their world, and even more grateful that we had been able to navigate this new territory without losing what made our friendship special. As the months went by, I often found myself reflecting on how much had changed since that rainy day when Hannah and I first met. The friendship that had started out of heartbreak had evolved into something beautiful and unexpected. It taught me that sometimes the most meaningful connections come from the least expected places, and that true friendship can withstand even the most unconventional challenges. Today, as I look back on this journey, I feel a sense of peace. I've learned that trust is not about avoiding risks, but about embracing them with the right people by your side. I've learned that being vulnerable is not a weakness, but a strength that allows us to connect on a deeper level. And most importantly, I've learned that life is full of surprises. And sometimes, those surprises can lead to the most extraordinary experiences. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it has reminded you of the power of trust, the beauty of friendship, and the importance of being open to life's unexpected turns. They were.